Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. As I do this almost every day, I provide you with a summary of the latest from the front. This information is provided by Ukrinform, by the Ukrainian side. So this is perceived by the Ukrainians, provided by the Ukrainians, and obviously put your little Ukrainian filters on as you would put the Russian filters on if I were to read a Russian media outlet. So let's go and see what's going on here, what happened in the past 24 hours on the Ukrainian front. So this article comes from Ukrinform, Ukrainian multimedia platform for broadcasting. I think this is a state-owned. I know it's a state-owned media outlet. Ukraine's Air Force launches 16 strikes on enemy positions. This is from the 25th of January 2023 at 19:54. That's 7:54 p.m. Kiev's time. So probably they all went to bed at that time. During the day, the Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine struck the Russian invaders 16 times. In addition, an enemy helicopters, an attack aircraft, and 2 drones were destroyed. This is stated in the report of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine as of 1800, which is 6 p.m., January 25th, published on Facebook. And I'm quoting, "During the day, Ukraine's Air Force launched 14 strikes on enemy clusters and 2 more on the positions of the enemy's anti-aircraft missile systems. The Armed Forces of Ukraine also destroyed a Sukhoi 25 aircraft, a Ka-52 helicopters, and 2 Orlan 10 unmanned aerial vehicle. And our missiles and artillery units hit 1 command post, 9 manpower clusters, and 3 ammunition depots of the enemy," end quote. The report reads. All right. Russian troops, according to the General Staff data, launched 21 airstrikes, 5 missile strikes, and 27 MLRS attacks during the day. In Bakhmut direction. So now we go with the front. Remember, Bakhmut is an offensive operation conducted by the Russians. Let's see what the Ukrainians are telling us about. Remember, they will probably minimize that, but hey, I picked the article, so I should shut up. In Bakhmut direction, the invaders continue to conduct offensive operations, suffering heavy losses. Now, when your enemy tells you that, hey, these guys still conduct offensive operations, that means the Russians are really doing something, suffering heavy losses. Remember, minimize your enemy's achievements, maximize their losses. They all do that. We all do that. In Lyman and Avdiivka directions, again, these two are 2 Russian offensive directions. The Russians also tried to go on an offensive, but all enemy attacks were repelled. In the rest of the directions, Russian troops defend themselves. So, Bakhmut, Lyman, and Avdiivka directions. This is where, according to the Ukrainian side, the Russians are conducting offensive operations. In Volyn, Polisia, Sivershchinya, and Slobozhanshchinya directions, the situation has not changed significantly, and no enemy offensive groups have been detected. Instead, the Russians shelled the areas of more than 20 settlements with artillery, including, and I'm not going to read all these 3,000 settlements here, but it's they enumerate about 9 or so. And all those are in the Kharkiv region. In Kupiansk direction, Russian troops shelled Sinkivka, Ivanivka, Kotlyarivka, Tobaivka, and in Kharkiv region, Stelmakivka in Luhansk region. So a lot of shelling. in Lyman direction. Lyman, again, used to be a Russian offensive, but let's see what the Ukrainians are telling us about Lyman. So in Lyman direction, Makivka, Ploshchanka, Chervonopopivka, Nevsky in Luhansk region, Yampolivka in Donetsk region came under enemy fire. In Bakhmut direction, again, areas of 17 settlements including Spirnya, Bakhmut, Stopochki, Bilohorivka, Krasnahora, Klishchivka, and Kurdimivka in Donetsk region were struck. In Avdiivka region direction, Avdiivka, Pervomaitske, Neversky, and about Marinka, Novoyakailivka in Donetsk region came under enemy fire. In Novopavlivka, their direction. Now this one again used to be a Russian offensive about 2 weeks ago. So in Novopavlivka direction, the Russians shelled Bohoyavlenka, Preshchistivka, and Zolota Nivia in Donetsk region with tanks, mortars, tube and rocket artillery. From direct experience here and knowledge, and obviously with patterns, I got to learn that whenever you read tanks, that is an offensive operation, most likely. In Zaporozhye region, the areas of 20 settlements, which I will not read, were hit with enemy tank and artillery, including Bababi Bobubub in Donetsk region, Malatomaka, Novodanilivka, and Orikhiv in Zaporozhye region. No offensive here, but tanks were again used. In Kherson direction, 16 settlements came under artillery fire, including Havrilivka, Dudchany, Kachkarivka, Bilozerka, all those, and Kherson. According to the General Staff data, about 100 wounded Russian soldiers were brought to the Starobilsk town hospital from the temporarily occupied territories of Luhansk region only in the past few days. The hospital is overcrowded, so they are transported to healthcare facilities in the city of Luhansk or to the territory of Russia after stabilization measures. Meanwhile, in the occupied Horlivka, Donetsk region, the invaders forced the employees of local so-called Republican enterprises to get Russian passports. If the requirements are not met by March 1st, 2023, the employees may be fired. It has been established, by whom, that the Russian Federation continues to exert pressure and intimidate the local population of the temporarily occupied territories. In Zankoy district of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea, the invaders raided the houses of more than 20 families of Crimean Tatars and made 6 arrests allegedly on suspicion of plotting sabotage and terrorist attacks. So that's the summary of whatever happens on the Ukrainian front according to the Ukrainians. Again, the Russians are advancing in Bakhmut for sure, where Wagner mercenaries are there. The Ukrainians have an article that I just read, stated they will not surrender Bakhmut. They will not leave Bakhmut as they left Soledar on their own to save lives. That's what they said. So it's very strange that you just retreat, but they didn't call it retreat. They left or something. They used a euphemism that sounds better, but it's the same, like, hey, that person passed away. He didn't die, he passed away. Okay. Is he around? No. Where is he? In dead. All right, the same here. They didn't surrender, they just came out. Remember the Mariupol, Azovstal, 2,500 and some prisoners came out of the steelworks, and they said they just came out to visit the Russians or something. No, they surrendered. They became prisoners. But anyway, if these guys like euphemisms, hey, that's freedom of speech on my part, so be it. All right, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.